Today's session is being recorded. You will get a copy of the recording after the session if you'd like it, but I do just want to make sure everyone's aware that it is being recorded. As I mentioned, jump in with any questions as we go, but we will cover the full litigation lifecycle and how you can use Quellio in practice. Thanks, Samuel. Over to you.
Perfect. Thank you, Beck, for that introduction. So, because we've got a bit of a mixed audience today, obviously not everyone's practicing the same area, same style. You've probably all got vastly different levels of experience. I've tried to put together some case studies that will try to hit as many practical use cases that each of you might come across within an average week. I'm not a barrister, I'm not even a junior solicitor, but I am very well versed in legal AI in Australia. So please forgive me if I mess anything up technically. Definitely not, I'm probably the least qualified person in the room when it comes to legal work, but hopefully make up for it with the AI knowledge. Before we get started, I just thought as grounds for thinking, while I'm going through, I'm more than happy to demonstrate any particular use case that you might frequently come up against. And here's a framework to think about that. So typically the things that recur most frequently for you, if something pops up once every blue moon, well, yes, you can do that with AI, but it's probably not going to move the needle for you. It's probably not going to change the quality of your life. However, if there's things that you do on a regular basis, maybe they happen once a day, maybe they happen 3 times a week. If you've got specific use cases that you'd like us to go through, I'm happy to look at those. So please pop in the chat, put up your hand, and we can go through it. I'll try to be as dynamic on the spot for you. Think about the things that you dislike doing. We've all got those boring, mundane, repetitive type things that we do on a regular basis that we could take off our plates. And then the low value work, working essentially as a solo is not easy. You don't have the support team like a solicitor might have to go and do the grunt work and do the lower value work. So think about those things as well. Again, I'm happy to be dynamic and show you anything that you would like to see, or go through any sorts of use cases, or even discuss any issues that you've got in mind that you haven't had a chance to speak to someone about in depth. All right, with that being said, what I might do is jump straight into the platform. I'll click on this here, which is just AI. This whole matter is AI generated. I generated this for the purpose of the masterclass today. So we've got a commercial dispute. This is the overview. I'm not going to read it all out to you because you can probably read much faster than I can speak it out. All of the finer details don't matter too much, but as long as you understand the gist of the of what we're working with today. And I also apologize. I realize not everyone's going to be in commercial as well, but this is the best that I could come up with that would probably cover most of you. Give you a moment just to finish reading that. If anyone's got any questions or any desires before we start, please let me know. All right, we'll give it about another 15 seconds and then I'll get into it. All righty. So let's pretend from the start I've received my brief, very thin brief. I'm sure none of you will ever get a thin brief with short notice. High stakes that you've got to turn around something very quickly. Essentially, this is my brief, very thin, as you can see. And so I've received this and I've received a number of source documents. So I'm in the main page within the platform at the moment. I am showing you the current version. We're about to roll out a new version which makes things even more simple, but I didn't want to demonstrate that today, just because it's not quite ready. So what I will do is I'll grab my documents here. So I've got the correspondence between both parties. I've got the statement of claim. I've got my brief. The agreement. And there was one more, I'm just not seeing it right now. This one here. Progress claims. So when I've selected all of those documents, down here in the bottom, we've got our discussion assistant pair, which is Amelia on the left-hand side, which is essentially like a senior associate level quality and accuracy. It's the one that's going to do the work. Compass on the right-hand side is like the legal project manager. It's not going to do the work for me. However, what it's going to do is a number of things. One, it's going to look at the matter and it's going to work alongside me to manage Amelia, but also to help me think through the matter and plan the matter. If we needed multiple things to be done, Compass can then manage Amelia to get the work done. Amelia is the specialist that will actually complete the work. So to start with, because the brief is so light on, I might talk to it and I'll say, sorry, who am I representing here? Apologies, I can't remember who I was representing here. Can you see it back?
No, sorry.
Okay. There we are, our client. Okay, it was Harbourline Hospitality. All right, being a good barrister 101, you should know who your client is, right? So I've received this brief. It's a little bit thin. I've received this brief. It's a bit thin. I represent Harbourline Hospitality. I've also got some other documents that I have given you here. I've given you the statement of claim. I've given you the original agreement. I've given you some correspondence and progress claims. What I want you to do first is help me get across this matter. Second, I want you to identify if there are any gaps, inconsistencies, or anything that's missing from within the bundle that I'm giving you. We have dictation on pretty much every functionality because you can typically talk 3 to 5 times faster than you can type. But if you prefer to type, you can also type there as well. So what Compass is doing is now reading through the documents, and we'll start doing those items for me. What I can also do, which I'll start in a moment, is I'll put together a chronology. So you'll see from my very shoddy brief here, Compass has gone, read through the documents, and then drafted these more detailed tasks for me to work on. We won't worry too much about the content for today, just in the essence of time, but you can see that it's substantially more detailed than what my brief was because it's already read the documents. This will elevate the quality of the output that Amelia gives us back. as one of the points where that we kind of fine-tune to make more accurate for you in terms of the quality and the accuracy of the results. We always prioritize quality and accuracy over speed and cost. So now, if I wanted to do both of those things, I can just simply click up here and it will add those items to the queue. Or what I can do is, if I prefer to read through them and then accept it, I just click on that tile there. If I wanted to edit it, I could edit this request. Maybe there was something that I wanted to add to it or modify. I could simply do that and then add that one to the queue as well. So this is the advantage of having Compass, working with Compass while it manages Amelia to do the work. Down the bottom, you'll notice it's also preempted other things that I may want to do. Now, I'm not quite ready to start drafting a defense and the analysis, so that's actually one of the things on my run sheet, but it's also preempted other tasks that I might want Amelia to do. So I can continue talking to Compass, getting it to do tasks for me, and it will keep feeding them over to Amelia to do those tasks. While this is running, what I might do is do some research for case law and legislation at the same time. So over here, down the bottom, we've got a research button, separate chat. Amelia can do research as well. However, some of our clients prefer to keep the research separate. And so you've got both options. So what I might say here is, so the research assistant will now go off and look at all publicly available case law and legislation. It will prioritize court. So if something's gone all the way through to the High Court, it's going to look at that in preference to something over a lower court. It will give me citations back for everything. So we've all heard the horror stories of barristers using AI, submitting fake cases to the courts, and end up with egg on their face. What we found in our research is that about 40+% of those cases were because the person using the AI was under time constraints, and they had to get something in. Obviously, they had to get their submission in within a short period of time. They probably weren't trained on AI very well. The AI gave a response that sounds credible, but the sticking point was that it was hard to verify at the time. So what we've done is with everything within the platform, the research assistant, or if you're working on documents related to the matter, we can provide pinpoint citations directly to the source so that you can reference it and either confirm or deny that that should be used within the matter. So I'll let that run for the research there. We've got our overview back from Amelia already. Again, we won't dive too much into the detail of the matter, just in the essence of time. But what you'll see is it's given me pinpoint citations to other documents. So here it's referencing the correspondence. If I click on that, what it's done is it's taken me to the document. It's taken me to that exact paragraph within the document. Now, this citation is not so useful because it's referring to that actual document. But if there was anything within, let's say, a witness statement and someone had said something, it would point directly to that statement within the document. So you're not having to go and sift through and find things hoping that they're correct, which kind of is counterintuitive to what we're trying to achieve here, which is to make you more productive and make life a lot easier. You also notice that it's decided on its own discretion to come up with, to put everything in a table. So it's created a mini chronology there for us. The thing with working with AI, for anyone who's not already currently working with AI, the more that you leave open to interpretation, the AI is going to decide what it thinks is the best decision, as opposed to you giving it more clear instruction, boxing it in and giving it a really clear brief. It will come back with exactly what you want. Some people don't want pinpoint citations. Some people love tables. Some people dislike tables. Some people like bullet points. Some people dislike bullet points. These are all things that are completely customizable just with language. Okay. So this pinpoint citation was within the document that I'm already in. See, it's linked me down here directly to that when I clicked on that pinpoint. We've got a strengths and weaknesses analysis, the cross-claim. It's already preempting what I want to do. That was one of the items that I wanted to cover with you today, was the strategic recommendations about how we think of it, but it's already gone ahead and done that. What it's also done is come up with related questions. So again, it's preempting other things that I might want to know about these documents to help me get more clarity on them straight away. We had a lot of good feedback about these, so much to the point that people used to complain because you could only click on one of them at a time. So now we've added the ability for you to select multiple questions, and then you can click on them and it will go and bring the answers back to me in parallel. Is there any questions or must-haves would like to see within this session? Yes, James.
Sorry, just a quick one. I might have missed it because I had a call come through, but as we were going through Amelia, it had various footnotes all the way down. When you click on those footnotes, does that take you to what? They're in blue.
Yeah. So what I've so these ones here.
Yeah.
So these will take me to that exact. So I've got a bundle of 5 documents selected here.
Yep.
It will take me to the document and also take me to the point within that document, so that you can quickly either confirm or deny that the AI is actually correct.
Okay. And the other thing I want to ask just quickly was the table that you did in terms of the chronology with parties involved or something, the third of the columns. I wouldn't typically have that, but it obviously intuitively came up with it. You could alter that. You could just simply direct it and say, get rid of column 3, key parties involved, and replace it with a list of all of the relevant sources of evidence, or who's the relevant witness or something like that. You could do that.
Absolutely. Yep. So I just I gave it obviously very poor instructions up here. Compass made the instructions much better than I did, but I could have customized these and said, look, I want a chronology, I want a table with 5 columns with whatever it is that I desired within those columns. The other thing that you can do, which is very powerful, so let's say these 2 steps with something that I would want to do on a regular basis. So remember I was talking about the high frequency things that happen. if getting across a matter, doing an analysis, and then identifying gaps and inconsistencies was something that I would always do. What I can do here is click on Create One-Click Automation. I'll just save it as Barrister Masterclass. What I might do is I'll just create a new category called Barristers. And so what it's done now is it's anonymized these tasks. So they're still very specific. You can see there's a lot of detail within them, but they're now generic to any matter. So next time, I don't even need to talk to Compass. All I do is drop my documents in. I can type in hashtag, click on Barrister Masterclass, and it says, do you want to run this automation? So now it's going to do both of those things that I just asked it to do. And this is the highest point of leverage that you can have currently with any AI system, is to make these small automation processes that are repeatable. So to your point, James, if you always wanted a chronology table a specific way, you could have them essentially codified in here, upload the documents, click a button, run that. I won't run it because it's just going to give me the same information back. But that's how you'd set yourself up to do even less work and not need to talk to the AI every time. So here we've got financial summary and claims offset. We've got the financial breakdowns of the dispute. I could have asked for pinpoint citations within here if I wanted to. So again, because just in the essence of time, I won't spend too much time going through all of these. But you see the response there. And then these are the questions, the responses to the questions that I asked, the related questions, right? So again, it's gone off, excuse me, and done those. This one here, it's actually gone. So what it's done, it's gone and done case law research here for me with one of those related questions. So if I click on this here, let me share this screen instead. It's taken me straight to this document here. What else have we got? So that was an OSLI, excuse me, an OSLI reference that I just showed you there. We've got some other OSLI references. It'll bring things in from, okay, so here's something, piece of legislation that it's brought back. So you can see that it's referencing everything, excuse me, in the information that it brings back to you. And we try to make that as easy as possible for you to verify or not. So any other questions related to this so far? There's a number of other use cases and things to go through.
Can I ask a very simple question? How do you get the information into an edit?
As in your matter documents?
Yeah.
Yeah, great question. So what I might do is I'll share this tab instead. So where are you storing your documents at the moment? Are you using a SharePoint or something, or?
Just in my Mac. Just in a folder.
Yep, that's fine. So all you simply do is opening a new matter, you just create a new folder. Let's just call this Jones. So there's my Jones folder, and then I can just click on import. We do accept a large range of different documents, so it's not just Word documents. We've got Word, text-based, PDF, both scanned, text, images. You can upload individual images. Maybe you've taken a photograph of something on your phone and uploaded it. A really big time saver and quality improver to managing the matter is uploading audio or video recordings. So if you have a meeting with the solicitor and you're discussing the matter, you can record it, drop it in here. It will give you world-class accuracy transcription, which you can then use along with the documents that you've got. And then you've got emails, messages, all of those sorts of things. So all I simply did just before this was just drag the files and then click upload.
Thank you.
No worries, you're welcome.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please, John.
Thanks. If we receive, for instance, a brief via eBrief, if you're familiar with eBrief, that is online effectively. Do we have to download it first to our computer so that we can then upload it, or can we directly take it from eBrief and drop it into the assistant?
Good question. At the moment, we don't have an integration with eBrief. It's definitely something that's on our cards to look at. But regardless, for the 1 minute to download and upload is nothing compared to the hours that you end up saving. So yeah, we'll definitely look into it. I just couldn't promise that we can do that integration because it's dependent on a number of factors. Obviously, mostly to do with eBrief. Yeah.
Okay.
This in many ways will act as a replacement for eBrief. So if your acting solicitor has access, you can share either individual, whoops, when I click there, you can share either individual, sorry, I was looking at the wrong tab. You can share either individual documents, the whole matter. This goes with, in sharing with your clients as well. Let's say perhaps you've got to discuss something with witnesses. You might record the conversation with the witness. You might upload that recording. It transcribes it. You might then create some sort of pleading from that or any other sort of document. You can then share that by clicking on share. Even if they don't have an account, you can then share it with them, allow them to view it, to collaborate with you, to edit the document. We force track changes, so they can't change anything without you knowing, or comment on it as well. So essentially, it is like an eBrief ready as well. So was there anything else for now? Otherwise, actually, where was the other one? I think this was, okay, so this is the research brief that I gave to it before. I essentially just dropped in the, the poor brief that I'd received from the solicitor here. I just dropped it into the chat and said, go and see what you can find with very little direction. Now, obviously, if I was doing this for real, you would probably understand the matter a little bit better and then give it more direction, because the more guidance and direction we give it, the much more accurate results we're going to get, and obviously save reading time. So again, we've got some references to legislation, New South Wales, to Ostley here, another one to legislation, New South Wales. What you can also do with this research, I'm going to butcher this this brief here, but let's say, for example, okay, let's say, for example, that I wanted to pull this where was it? Let's say I want to pull this judgment in. I can just click on insert content. What it will do is it will go and pull that judgment into my working document. And so then you can use the discussion assistant to build out whatever it is that you're looking to build. So if you're looking to build a submission from it or some sort of advice, you can use the research assistant, cite the links that it gives back to you. You say, okay, great, I would like to use number 1, 3, and 7. And then you can click on it. It will bring it back and insert it into this document here. If I wanted to create a chronology, we do have a dedicated chronology function, so you can do them through here. There is a limitation in terms of how long your chronology can be if you do it within the chat, just a technical constraint. However, if I go up to our dedicated chronology function up here, these are the default columns that we give: the date, time, event, parties involved, etc. This is a custom column that I've created. So I've just called it damages amount. I can add as many custom columns here as I would like, and it will go and pull out that information in the chronology. Right. I could also give it more information if I wanted to. Therese, yes.
Yes, hi, Samuel. I just wanted to ask a question in relation to the multi-doc function. So if I've uploaded 20 documents and then I've clicked, add, and I'm about to discuss, and then I realize, oh, I've forgotten 2 or I've missed 1 off it. How would I add that without having to re-add all the other 20 documents?
Great question. So you can just click on this edit button here.
Okay.
And then, so this is a very common use case, by the way, because obviously as you've got a moving target, you've got more information being sent to you. You can simply, so I don't know if you saw before when I was on discuss, at the bottom of every output, it's got 5 documents, or it doesn't say 5 documents on every one, but it's showing me the documents that I was chatting with at this point in time. So I can just simply click on that 5 documents again. It's selected them, but then let's say I've now wanted to upload, I've now uploaded more. I can just simply select those and then continue on. So back to our great questions, by the way. So now if I go to my chronology function, this will do, I think the largest chronology I've done on it personally was about 11,000 pages. But it will handle large scale chronologies and give us pinpoint citations to everything within there. Okay, while that is going, I'm just checking my notes here. So we've got our chronology back. I can either insert the chronology into my working document here, or what I can do is click on Create Doc. That'll create a new document within the platform. Change the view. Right. You'll see we've got our date and time. What we've also got here is it's labeled this one as inferred because it doesn't actually state the date for this email correspondence, but there's other information around it that help the AI calculate what the date was. So it might have been an email on the 8th, for example, that referred the email that happened yesterday, but it didn't have the date for the email of yesterday. So it's just said, well, we know this email came in the day before this email came in. So yeah, it will give you transparency for that. You see I've got the citations here to where it's pulled the facts from. Again, I can just click on those and it will take me to the exact point in the document where it's pulled those from. Alrighty. So actually, this is a good point. Back to Therese's point before. If I select this, and let's say we've now progressed our matter. So we've got across the matter. We've now jumped on the phone with the solicitor. I'm just trying to see which number it was. Here's our telephone conference with the solicitor. I think we want that one as well. Let's pretend now we need to brief our experts.
Sorry.
Sorry, what was that, Craig?
Sorry. Nothing.
Okay, no worries. Let's grab these, and let's say that we were to now prepare. We want to prepare our experts. I'm not completely across this matter, as I'm sure you're not either. So if I said something along the lines of, I've now given you more material. I need you to help me prepare briefs for 2 expert witnesses. So I need one for the engineer, and I also need a forensic accounting brief as well. Similar process, I would go straight to Compass. To create more clarity around the difference between them, if you've got direct questions, you can go straight to Amelia. But if you actually want work done, go to Compass, because these more detailed briefs will increase the quality of what Amelia can output. So as an example, if I went to Amelia and said, who are the parties involved? It's a very straightforward black and white question. It's not really a piece of work. It's more Q&A. But where I'm doing work like this, then that's exactly what I would use Compass for in preference over Amelia. Plus the fact that you can't keep talking. I mean, you can keep talking to Amelia and sequence some requests, but you can do it at a much better scale through Compass, let's say. Right. And again, if this is something that you would do on a regular basis, I don't imagine every matter would be an engineering expert and a forensic accounting expert. But if it was, you could always save that into your one-click automations to click on next time. Preparing, taking information from expert witnesses. From other witnesses, you can always take those. Comparing witness statements is something that I may do if you're interested in seeing that, where you would have the written statements from a number of different parties, either on the same side or opposing sides, asking for missing, the 3 things that I always look for are missing, conflicting, or inconsistent information. AI is very good at finding needles in a haystack, particularly for those items. By the way, with any of these items that I'm getting it to draft, yes.
Oh, you finished? I can wait.
Okay, thank you. So what I was going to say is all of these items that I'm getting it to draft, it's doing it in what it thinks is the best output, the tone of voice, the structure. But if I wanted my brief here to be exactly how I would prep an expert witness, I could have given it an example of one of the ones that I've previously done before. It will then emulate my tone, style, structure of the way that I do things, so it just looks and smells and sounds like me. Right? But I haven't done that in this example, but it's something that you can absolutely do. Now, of course, you would never copy and paste this and send it straight off. You would review it, polish it, but it will take, it's that boring, mundane, repetitive type work that I talked about earlier that is really low value, that you shouldn't be spending your critical thinking brain on drafting simple briefs and emails. So either I can create a new document from this if I wanted to save it into the system, or I could click on copy and paste it into Outlook, polish it, send it. We don't have an integration with Outlook yet. It is on the cards. We will have an integration at some point. So you could draft an email straight from here in the matter documents into Outlook, polish it, and then send it directly. But for now, it's simply just click that and away you go. Therese.
That's good that you actually finished on that. I was about to go to that when you export a document. My question goes to that function in sort of the context is I've come into the matter and I've uploaded all my documents, and then I've used a Compass to do an analysis, a brief summary or analysis of the matters, and it's gone to Amelia, and it's got, in that field there, a really nice summary of the matters, and I'm like, oh, I really want to use that document to help inform me draft whatever it is I want to draft with the other, including the other documents. So in that case, would I just click on that button and then export it to another document, or would I attach it somehow? You know what I'm getting at, like for it to use that particular information in the document that it's created, that summary document, for example?
Yeah, great question. So if I go back to, I could do it on that research. Let's look at this one here. I think that was the summary. So if I just click on create new document. So this is kind of like if you've seen that movie Inception, where it's like the dream inside the dream. You've created the summary, but now you can start a new chat here with this one. And so you could have this as a working document where you've pulled in various things that you've asked Amelia, pulled it all into one document, and now you can start a fresh chat with this, excluding all of the source documents, but just working within this document. Is that what you were asking?
I was actually, yeah, that's one way of doing it, which is great for whatever purpose that is. But in terms of if I've got all the documents already there, and then this is sort of, that summary document that's created, and you're like, oh, I want to use that as well. So the information is nice and tidy for whatever reason, and without having to reattach, like open up a new box and then, adding all the documents again, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And so it saved it in this, it saved it into the client matter here. And then with this document, I could export it back out to PDF or docx. So I guess in terms of what you're asking is, can you save this document down, but then include it within here as well?
Yes, to further work on the matter.
Yep. If you're continuing the chat, all of this chat history is in the memory. So you don't need to select that document right now. So it will still remember everything that you've talked about. So typically this is where, and this is a bit more for advanced training, but let's say we're drafting a statement of claim as an example. What I would do is have a multi-step process in Compass. I would just talk to Compass. I would say, go and extract all of the evidence from my client's perspective. If it was a large matter, I would say, go back, see if there's any more evidence. What else should we be including within there? Maybe do some case law legislation research. Now draft my statement of claim. Then what I would do is I say to Compass, now I want you to test it from the other party's perspective. I want you to rip it to shreds, find any weaknesses, any gaps, any inconsistencies in my statement of claim. And so then what I've got in my chat history here is all of the evidence, the case law legislation research. I've got my statement of claim, but now what I've got is the other parties' essentially objections that they could be bringing up. And then I ask for my final statement of claim, and that final statement of claim would be really watertight, and it's going to flag anything that that we couldn't legitimately, any loose ends that we couldn't legitimately tie up. So I realise it's not really related to what we're working on here, but my point was just about giving the AI giving Compass multiple steps to work through, and what it does is it essentially improves Amelia's output. It's kind of compounding the output with each response that we get back. Where a lot of people get it wrong with AI is in the statement of claim example, they upload the documents and say, draft me a statement of claim, and they wonder why it's not that great, right? Because it's taken this huge corpus of information and tried to output, something that we want to submit, but you wouldn't really do that in real life. People think because it's AI that you just click a button and then magic should happen. Magic does happen sometimes, but it's much better if you put it into a stepped process like you typically will be working through yourself. Yes, James.
So what's this document that you've created here? What's its function?
This one?
The table that you were showing on the screen. What is the function of this table?
I think one, I'm just trying to see what this this was looking for any gaps or weaknesses within the material.
So that's the evidential analysis, effectively, is it? A prioritized list of documents and instruction requests. Okay.
Yeah.
Some of the tasks, you're touching on this, just to let you know, and I hope this is shared by others. There's the preliminary tasks you need to understand the brief. Then there's the applied tasks that you use for preparing a claim or preparing for trial. And one of the really, really important functions that value add associated with AI is the ability, as you were saying, about contrasting witness statements, or in the case of a construction law claim, which is what this is the ability to be able to compare and contrast expert witness statements. So if you've got reports, all of your reports, and you've got multiple on the same field of expertise, you might want to compare them. If you've got 2 or 3 parties that have alternate reports to the ones that you've got in a specific field, you might want to compare and contrast them. And that's a sort of a function, I guess, I'm hoping to see. I don't know if the others are interested in it, but even if it was comparing witness statements, not necessarily expert reports, it's such a critical part of a construction law case. The comparison of the lay evidence and then the comparison of the expert evidence.
Yeah, perfect. I've actually got that on my list of things to do. And then, the other one was an evidence matrix as well.
So that they call that like in terms of experts, that's called a Scott schedule, or it's typically called a Scott schedule, particularly around defects, but it can be used for other things as well. Do you have that terminology? Is that what you use in Sydney or in New Zealand or wherever you're?
Yeah,
We've actually got a video on that, how to create the Scott schedule. One of the other barristers has asked that for, so we are familiar with that, definitely.
Yeah, I say it because it's an incredibly painful, time-consuming task. That if there was a way of being able to do that, I can tell you now, that's very, very handy. Yeah, you don't want to wait for the solicitors to prepare it, and typically it's done right at the end of a case, prior to trial. You really want to be able to start progressively preparing that along the way to aid you with your analysis and your preparation. Yep,
absolutely. So I'm not sure if you saw there, but we've got our AI Learning Center built in. They're all sort of 30-second to 3-minute videos. Here's the one for the Scott schedule. And so you can, I won't go through it now. Essentially, the process is the same. I mean, I can even do it here if you want to, but contrasting did you want to see contrasting expert reports with witness statements, or with just witness statements against each other?
I do one, Sam, that's generally relevant to everyone, not just me.
Sure. What would everyone else like to see?
I'm happy with that.
Do something with compares witness statements or something. That's a basic level that could apply to either.
Okay.
Not trying to sound too pushy there or directive. I'm conscious you've got limited time, Sam.
No, please. I like it. This is what I prefer. It's much harder if you're not directing me, because I don't want to just talk and completely miss you. I'd rather you direct me and let me know what you'd prefer to see. Okay, so we've got 3 witness statements here. I've given you 3 different witness statements. I want you to analyze them and find anything that's missing, anything that's conflicting, or anything that's inconsistent, and provide a table. Have you got a preference, James, for how you would like the table? No? So one thing that I had on my list, I'm not sure we're going to get time to do it, is thinking strategically about how we're going to approach the matter. So what I was going to do is we looked at our initial brief and the documents that we had there. We had the meeting with the solicitor. We then select the transcript for that, as well as some other documents. And so what we could do is, I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. I was trying to look at 2 things at once, distracted myself. Sorry, what did I say I was going to do? Oh, sorry, you're on mute, James.
You're going to compare 3 witness statements, and so you're going through the task.
Yeah, so I've executed that task now. I was just thinking, I had something else on my run sheet that I was going to show you, just in terms of, it wasn't the table, but I can't remember. It'll come back to me. But yeah. The other thing that, oh, it's come back already. Okay, so here's our witness statements, our critical gaps and inconsistencies. I should have asked for pinpoint citations. I didn't, but I could have asked and it would have put those pinpoint citations within here. I know what I was going to say, the strategy. So not just asking it for tactical, go and create this document for me, but actually helping you to sit. It's like having another associate sit alongside you and brainstorm with it. What am I going to do strategically here from the outset? So before you even go back to the solicitor, after having the briefing meeting, after receiving all the documents, you can go and brainstorm with it and say, look, strategically, this is what we've got to work with. How should we approach it? Is a really good path. Again, setting the AI up for success, because now it's thinking strategically and not just tactically, like we're going to draft a submission, we're going to do something else. We're thinking about the whole lay of the land holistically, and then how we're going to approach it from there.
So what would that look like? Just to give an example of, you can use this one by giving an example of how that sort of plays out, that holistic strategic approach rather than task by task.
So I would select most things that I've got to work with today. So let's look at these documents here. And I think they're from a different matter. Is there a preference for output, James?
In what sense?
as in if you'd like it in a table or bullet points or
Oh, I think
some
tables.
sort of written.
Tables always good. Yeah, and I was going to ask, while you're doing that, I was going to ask you one thing. You know, when you said missing, conflicting, and inconsistent, does missing include you actually have no witness giving evidence on this point, not just this witness doesn't deal with this issue and should? Is it also because that can come up where you're just missing an important element of a case in terms of the evidence that you want. You want something to give you a bit of I guess a check against a checklist. And secondly, if you don't have a particular witness give that evidence, that can create problems later in terms of if you don't put that to that particular witness.
All of the above. So, I mean, for you or I, we need to read through hundreds and hundreds of pages potentially to try to find what might be missing. Or you go on a wild goose chase. The solicitor says, look, yeah, I've given you this and this is what happened. And then you spend hours reading through hundreds of pages and you're like, the thing's not here. Am I going crazy? Whereas the AI can tell you straight away, look, the solicitor told you that, and that's actually not included in the bundle. Or perhaps they forgot to attach it with the bundle. It might be email 43. They've given you everything else, but somehow their junior solicitors hasn't put it in the bundle. Police, so some of our criminal barristers, I've seen them, like the police statements say X, but then they give the evidence and they're saying, well, hang on, this is not in the evidence. Where did this actually happen? So literally any use case you can think of. It could be facts missing from an email. So they've actually provided the email, but the facts that they said were in the email were not actually in the email. And it doesn't even care if you misspell things.
I was about to ask that.
Essentially what it is, it's a prediction machine. So that's where it shines. We even have some solicitors that I've coached have said they like using it for transcripts that, let's say they've had a meeting with someone or police have submitted some audio material that might be inaudible in some places. They can say, well, what are the words that are out of place or missing? Give me a table of what the words are that are incorrect or missing, and then what do you think the word was to help fill in the gap. So this is the other thing that Compass can do, is it's not necessarily doing the work, but it's trying to get clarity from me. Right, and so it's giving me some strategic scenarios, the pros and cons of each one. And then it can turn those into the actions that Amelia goes and executes on. And we'll see here we've got the recommended approach. Obviously, you need to use your judgment. It doesn't replace your judgment.
It's a high-level litigation strategy, and it's giving you different options to apply to the client.
Yeah. So because I asked it, figure out or think about all the different scenarios, as a solo practitioner sitting there, by myself, it can be very labor intensive and take time to think through it. But now I've got, okay, here are my options. Potentially there's more options, not saying there's not, but within 30 seconds, I've now got, okay, well, we could do that. Maybe we shouldn't go down that path. It's like a sparring tool or a thinking tool, right? To help think through things faster. Yes, Therese.
So that hasn't gone to Amelia. So how do you get that as a document? Do you just copy that, or so say, for example, because the screen's not that big. So say if you wanted to,
So what it's asking me at the end, it's saying which of the steps would you like to do? So it's saying, look, to execute scenario 2 effectively, these are the things that that I would recommend you do. But it also had some of the others here. So I could just say, go ahead with all 5 recommended if that was what I agreed with. And now that will create the tasks for Amelia to do those things. Yes, John.
I had a question in relation to affidavits. Can you ask it to do a table of objections to evidence?
Absolutely. Yeah, literally anything pretty much within reason, like not go get me a coffee, but pretty much anything within reason. It could create any sort of table, contrasting things, extracting information, drafting things. Depending on where you're located, obviously, if you're in New South Wales, then you couldn't use it for drafting affidavits. Some jurisdictions you can legally do that. If you've got a recording, so let's say you are in a jurisdiction where you can create an affidavit or some other pleading, this is where recording the conversation with the client can be really beneficial, because if you've got the recording of exactly what they said and now you give it to the AI along with the material, maybe you've got emails from them, but you ask it to draft that affidavit in their tone of voice, it will be spot on as to how they talk. I mean, if you've got a client who's more simple and they use simple terms, but then you get the AI to draft an affidavit where maybe they're more extravagant or more sophisticated in their language, the judge is going to look at it and be like, hang on, I've got this person in front of me and then this affidavit doesn't really stack up. The AI can produce something that is of more value, I think, to the community, because it's going to be on point, and you're not making up anything they didn't say. So that's the other thing that you can say with any of this is draft the affidavit verbatim as to what the client said, and it will it will put in quotes exactly what they had said and use the exact phrasing of what they have. So not even embellishing on what they've said. Yeah.
I was thinking more of when you receive an affidavit, because a lot of my trials are based on affidavits. There are often objections to evidence on the basis that it's irrelevant or vexatious or whatever. Can you feed an affidavit in and say, give me the objections to evidence in a table and give me the reference as to, or at least the reason why it's objectionable?
Absolutely. This is obviously quite subjective, but what you could also, and I apologize, I can't remember what this is called, but essentially you could put both arguments in a table, and the third column be sort of a strength of argument column to say, which one do you think holds more water than the other one? Which one's more accurate based on all the information that you've got? And what are your prospects of success? I don't really like to say, but essentially what you're asking is like, help me to weight all of the different facts and material, and points within the material that I can then use to guide my judgment as to how I'm going to play this out.
And I suppose you could also ask it what factors or what arts might make it more likely that this evidence will be accepted, something like that.
Absolutely, depending on what court as well you're dealing with. As an example, some obviously you can't make inflammatory statements. Getting it to review your work before you send it out, whether you've manually typed it out yourself or whether you've got AI to use it, getting the AI to critique it before it gets submitted or sent to a solicitor or to another party, and say, look, make sure that it doesn't have any inflammatory statements within here. It will come back with really high nuance and say, well, hang on, John, maybe we shouldn't be saying this here. Let's rephrase it to that.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I'm conscious of everyone's time. I know I went a little bit off track, but that was guided by the good questions and conversation that we've had. So I appreciate everyone's engagement. It really makes my job a lot easier, particularly at the end of a long day with kids screaming in the background. So did anybody have any final questions or anything they wanted to ask before we look at wrapping up?
Will we have access to the recording?
Yes.
Yes.
That's fine. We can send that out when it's uploaded. Also, if you would like to do a trial of our platform, we can organize that for you. What I would say is please be patient, because we've got a new release about to come out, which is kind of like the 2.0 version, significantly improved on top of what you've seen here. So it might be worth waiting a few days. If you'd like a free trial, you're more than welcome to do it. We'll also give you coaching within it. So it's not just here, go and sign up to this thing and you've got no idea where to start. We'll shortcut that. We have a number of practicing lawyers within the organization. Depending on how many people we've got, we may even get our resident barrister on the call, and she can talk through with more elegance than I can to the specifics. So she's got 30 plus years as a very senior barrister. So we can also bring her on the call as well for some coaching calls. Yes, Charles.
Not knowing a lot about this sort of thing, but I wonder whether you can get all the information and put it into, say, Claude or ChatGPT, as opposed to your program. What makes your program different from?
Great segue. So there are a lot of people breaching privilege at the moment, unfortunately, with uploading directly to Claude or ChatGPT. Your data, depending on which plan you have, so if you're on a lower tier plan, they will store your data offshore. If you're on a higher tier plan, they might store your data in Australia. Well, ChatGPT has an option if you're on a higher paid plan, but then it's all still inferenced overseas, which means that all of the data gets sent overseas and processed overseas and then sent back to Australia for every AI call that you make. We have both options as well. We have full Australian data residency, which means nothing leaves Australia ever, or the inferenced one where your data does go overseas. It's never used to train on your data ever, and it's never stored for a period overseas. It's just we're able to, because the infrastructure is not as great in Australia as what it is overseas, so therefore we can offer cheaper or better value if we do inference some stuff offshore. The last major point, there's a lot of different points when it comes to security and data residency, is if you are facing an overseas company, well, more specifically an American company, there's something called the Cloud Act, if anyone's seen that, but it's kind of, they call it an agreement between the US and Australia. Essentially what it is, it's a letter of dictation from the US to Australia that says, if we subpoena any one of any American company, Australia has to hand over all of its data to America, whether you like it or not. So if you are a client of Claude or ChatGPT, and they are subpoenaed, OpenAI has already been subpoenaed once. Essentially, one of their high courts, I can't remember which one it was, said, we want you to give us all 850,000 of your clients' records. Doesn't matter which country they're in. So that's the bigger risk that you have with signing up to some of these countries, not to mention the fact that they're not fit for purpose. So we're an Australian-based company. We're just focused on Australia and New Zealand law. And the results that you get out of them can be wildly different. Yeah.
Thanks.
The other thing I would probably add to that as a data lawyer is a platform like ours is developed in conjunction with legal experts. So myself, our barrister colleague with 30 years experience, we've got another very senior lawyer in Brisbane who's part of our leadership, our training team are lawyers. When you're dealing with ChatGPT and Claude, they're not being developed in conjunction with senior lawyers or barristers. So they're not legal grade standard, and there won't be the precision and accuracy that you'd be looking for, both from a legal professional privilege perspective, but also from an output perspective.
Thank you.
Welcome. Great questions. All right. Does anybody have anything else? I'm conscious of everyone's time, and I appreciate everyone sticking around so far. Thumbs up. James, thank you for your contributions. Therese, Charles, John, really appreciate it. As I said, if you'd like to have a trial, no pressure, no cost. So maybe we'll send out an email for that back in the next day or so. We'll wait till the new release comes out though, because I think it'll be well worth waiting a couple of days. Not to say that what we have is not already good. It just makes life even easier for you, and there's some more powerful functionality in there that we haven't covered today. So yeah.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Sam.
Sam.
Thanks so much to everyone for their time.
I was just going to ask one more question. The cost.
Yes. Sure. We can cover that with. So I mean, you've got various different levels. Fundamentally, though, it works as a subscription consumption, like pretty much every AI business does now, because there's real raw cost in delivering the AI output. It's just like going to a restaurant. The restaurant had to buy the meat and the veggies or whatever it is that they're preparing for you. We have real variable cost to any question you ask the AI. So essentially, a plan comes with, you might pay $300, you get $300 worth of credit, and then you draw down against that credit. That's how the model works. We've got a number of different plans that I won't go into too much detail, just not to confuse. Like, we just need more time to go through options. But essentially, thank you, Beck. So Beck just put a link in the chat. Because we do have a number of solicitors and barrister in-house, we've gone and done all of the research for you in how do you actually make what we do free. So you can pass the cost on to the client if you wish to. Legitimately, we've tried to make it as easy as possible. Essentially, we've given you a mini checklist of things that you need to do to legitimately claim it back. And then you can just export a report, pass the cost on to the client. You gain all the benefits, the client gains all the benefits, and ultimately makes your quality of life easier and better without you having to pay for it.
Thanks.
You're very welcome. But yeah, not avoiding the question, just we need more time to go through your different options, because there's quarterly, annual, and monthly plans, and yeah.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
All right.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time. Have a good evening.